Welcome. Welcome to FMA classes. This is Amal Matthew Chacko, an ACCA member by qualification. I'm an academic tutor as well as an academic author by profession. This is a brief intro into the ACCA paper named FMA, Foundations in Management Accounting. Let's go ahead. Let's see what is the role that FMA has to play in your ACCA journey. We'll discuss about the placement of FMA within the ACCA course structure. We'll discuss about the syllabus of FMA and finally the exam structure of FMA. FMA and ACCA. FMA is also called by the name F2. This is a knowledge level paper, which means the basic level paper, a foundations level paper. And it will help you with the paper named PM, Performance Management, FI paper. So FMA is a direct base for PM, and it's something that you will easily understand if you do some web research. But it will help you a lot with certain areas in FM as well, which quite often you won't understand if you're just looking into it through the web and all. So FMA, the knowledge level paper, will help you with, definitely it will help you with a good portion of your PM, and it will help you with certain areas in FM as well, financial management, F9 paper. And then come to the final level, the professional level of ACCA. APM is the advanced paper of PM, Advanced Performance Management. AFM is the advanced paper of EFM, Advanced Financial Management. So it goes without saying, if you are doing well in FMA, it will help you with PM and FM, and automatically it will help you with APM and AFM as well. Both these papers, APM and AFM, are optional purpose. However, more often than not, you will end up picking up at least one among these. Then there is a mandatory paper named SBL, Strategic Business Leadership, under the P level. In terms of exam technique, decision making, analytical skills against a scenario, etc. If you are doing well in PM and FM, it will help you with SBL as well. So long story short, don't approach these paper, F2 paper, FMA paper, as if a one-off paper. Look at the bigger perspective, bigger picture, the long-term perspective. If you are doing well in FMA, if your foundations are strong, it's going to help you with many other purposes in your ACCA journey. Next step, the syllabus. FMA syllabus is broken down, as you can see, into 6 parts. I am basically following the syllabus breakup given in the ACCA website itself, ACCA syllabus. So, first part A, nature's source and purpose of financial information. It actually lays the foundation for the topics to come. Talks about the role of a management accountant, from where all you can get the information, etc., etc. Mostly theory area. Then comes the B part, data analytics and statistical techniques. Quants, forecasting, all those areas will be discussed. A relatively new topic, which few chapters are relatively new. We'll be talking about big data analytics and all in there. Then the cost accounting techniques. We'll start looking at how to account for cost of labor, of material, of overheads. Then the individual costing methods like absorption costing, marginal costing, activity-based costing, process costing, many other areas. Then D part, the budgeting area. Different budgetary methods will be looked at, the budgetary process will be looked at. From there, we move on to part E of our syllabus, which is actually a continuation of your part D. You plan during your budgetary process, then you will execute it, and then the standard costing, if you look into the individual chapters within that, there is going to be variance analysis as well under the standard costing module, part E. Okay, so those chapters are basically like control purpose. We are going to compare the actual performance against the standards or the budgets that we have set. So both these goes hand in hand. Then comes the final part, performance measurement, ratios, profitability ratios, liquidity ratios, things like that. Then non-financial performance indicators like qualitative aspects of performance, all those will be discussed in part F of your syllabus. So by now you would have already guessed it. Definitely each of these individual module, the 6 modules, within this you will have multiple chapters. It's not going to be 6 chapters, there is going to be multiple chapters within each of these parts. Finally, the exam part. As you may have already known, it's a 100 marks exam. 2 hours is the duration, cut-off mark 50. The exam is divided into 2 parts. Part A contains 35 questions. 35 mostly objective type questions. I won't say it's strictly objective type because some of the questions could be dialog box question. When I say dialog box question, it's like you'll be given a box. There won't be options. There won't be multiple choices from which you can choose it. Rather, you'll be given a box. So you'll have to do the math and you have to enter the number there, the final answer. So it's not multiple objective question. But anyways, each of those will be small questions carrying 2 marks each. 35 into 2, 70 marks. Then 3 short scenarios. Each of those short scenarios will contain 5 sub-questions. So one scenario will contain 5 sub-questions and each of those questions will carry 2 marks usually. So 5 questions into 2 marks, 10 marks. Each scenario will carry 10 marks. 3 such scenarios, in total 30 marks. Total 100 marks. Remember, each of these scenarios will contain 5 sub-questions. It's not going to be a single short question, rather it will contain 5 sub-questions. So basically it means that you won't be asked a constructive response question in FMA paper. Means you won't have to write long answers, long theory answers and all in FMA paper. If it's a theory question, you will have to pick the correct answer, and if it's a numbers question, either maybe pick the correct answer or maybe enter the final figure, the final answer that you have got after your computation, your calculations. The frequency of exams for this particular paper, it's very flexible. All knowledge level papers of ACCA are on-demand papers. What do you mean by on-demand paper? As soon as a student is ready, after the revisions and all, the student can reach out to the nearest exam center, the approved exam center, register for the exam, take up the paper. So that flexibility is there with FMA as well. However, I have often seen this working like a double-edged sword. Quite often, the students end up attending the classes, going through the revision and everything, and then they will delay the exams. Please don't do that. If you postpone the exam after your classes and all, then you start forgetting things. Automatically, once you come back and once you want to attempt the paper, it will be double the work or triple the work. And then you will be looking at topics which you already have covered. That boredom will creep in, automatically you will lose interest. So please don't fall for that trap. As soon as you are done with your classes and the revisions within maybe 10-15 days, do the mocks and then attempt the final paper. Final part. Is FMA a theory-based paper or a numerical paper? Traditionally, when we say management accounting, students tend to believe it's a number-oriented paper. Actually, it's going to be a proper mix. Could be a case where student A gets a paper where it's 30 marks for numbers and 70 marks for theory. Student B, 50-50. Student C, the other way around. 70 marks numbers, 30 marks theory. It totally depends on your luck, your stars, many other things. See, CB exams, the computer-based exams, it's actually like thousands and thousands of questions already there. You go in there, you register for the exam. Automatically a pool out of the larger pool, a few questions are selected as your exam paper. So it can come in any proportion, in any mix, and it can be from any topic as well. So there is no cherry picking of topics either when it comes to FMA. There is no such thing like, okay, areas which are important and areas which you can totally overlook. There are areas where you have to put in more effort because they are difficult to understand from a student perspective. So you will have to put in more hours there. And there will be certain areas which you can invest very minimal time and you will learn it. That's there. Easy topic and difficult topic. But there are no topics which you can completely overlook. Everything is examinable when it comes to FMA paper. That's the same with all the ACCA papers as well, all other papers as well. Then, I won't say all the papers, but many other papers as well. Not all the papers actually, because there are papers where you can actually guess what's going to come, not with FMA. Then, why there is going to be a lot of theory for a management accounting paper? When I attempted this paper, it was largely a number-oriented paper, a numerical paper. Why is there a shift? Simple. ACC is simply trying to accommodate or incorporate what is happening in the industry, the requirements in the industry to its papers. Few years back, if you look at the role of a management accountant, it was simply to collect the data, prepare reports based on that, then pass it on to the management. They will look at those reports and they will make the decisions. But in today's world, if the role of a management accountant is to simply prepare reports by looking into the bills, invoices, etc., then inputting it into a system and then pulling out certain reports, then you don't necessarily require, the companies do not necessarily require a chartered accountant or a professional accountant for that purpose. They can simply employ a clerk or a graduate for that. They'll do it, right? Enter the figures into the system. Systems, in today's world, the systems will take care of all type of reports. Quarterly report, annual report, section-wise report, product-wise report. In any manner and in any frequency, you can pull out reports from systems now. Which means the role of a management accountant in the industry has clearly evolved. From being a case where you have to just prepare the reports, we are now required as a management accountant, we are supposed to look into those reports, the reports that mostly the systems are going to prepare or rather are going to give to you. So you'll be looking into those reports, you'll be analyzing it, you'll be interpreting it, you'll be looking for solutions if there is a problem, you'll be looking for suggestions if you are looking at investment opportunities. In short, you are going to assist the management in decision making. So since there is that change in the role in the industry for a management accountant, it's clearly reflected when it comes to our paper as well. You can't be just good at numbers and expect to survive in the industry. You have to be good at interpreting it as well. So we are doing the same as well in our paper. It's a classic example of how ACCA tries to remain up to date, at par with the requirements of the industry. That's it. Remember, FMA is not a standalone paper. Think about the larger perspective when you're preparing for this paper. Have a wonderful day ahead. Cheers.